Good evening. Hi. So I've just popped on, as it is Tuesday, to answer a couple of questions if there is anyone around or anyone has any questions. So I'm just going to hang on for a few minutes. Say hi if you're there so I can see if people are there. Also, it would be fab if anyone is happy to share the video who is watching, so that I can get some more questions. So yeah, so give it a share, give me a like so I can see that you're there. Hi Nicola. Oh, what's your news? Tell me your news. So yeah, let me know if anyone's got any questions they'd like me to answer. Please do share the video. Say hi. Hi Chris. Hi Claire. And Oliver. Hello. So has anyone got any questions at all that they would like to ask me? I can see there's a few more people on here now, so I think people must also be sharing the video. So if you are, thank you very much. I appreciate it, because actually it's helpful when there's more people on, because we tend to get more variety in questions. Hi Vic. So yeah, give me a shout. Let me know if anyone has anything they'd like me to answer. What do you want to know? What do you want to know? What would you like me to talk about? What would you like me to share? Is there anything that's troubling you? Is there anything that you're struggling with, that I can maybe shed some light on? There's 32 people on now. That's quite a lot. People must be sharing it, so thank you. Anyone that is happy to share it, please do share. The more people we get to ask questions, the more we can all learn from it. Got meetings set up with the head of a junior school in Keswick. Very good. Fantastic. That's great news. The more that we can spread the word, particularly amongst schools and young people, the better, because actually any form of anxiety or stress or depression or any of that comes from a lack of understanding. So if we can be really teaching children at such a young age about how all this works, then it's just much better, isn't it? PTSD is through the roof. My doctor's dad Thursday. Well, that's not good, Nicola, is it? Okay, so if anything's happening or if anything's stressful whereby we are in a situation that we've got a lot of thought about that isn't very nice and we're wondering why something's happened or what, loads of questions about it, then we are going to start to think more about it. I was talking to somebody yesterday, I think, about phobias. About phobias, because it's kind of helpful in understanding how our thoughts work generally. So let's just say you have a phobia of I pick out frogs. My mum's got a phobia of frogs. Okay. So if you've got a phobia of frogs, it's not actually anything to do with the frog, the discomfort that you're feeling. Okay. It's nothing at all to do with the frog. So let's just say my mum looks at a frog and thinks, oh, it's all slimy. I think I might have talked about this last week. Oh, it's all slimy. Now, that is a fairly neutral thought. Frogs are slimy. Someone might think frogs are slimy, so what? And someone might think, ugh, frogs are slimy. Either way, the thought is neutral until we put life into it. So what my mum would then do is go, oh, frogs are slimy. I don't want it near me. I'm scared of frogs. I don't like them. It might jump at me. All of this sort of stuff. And that's what causes the suffering. It's all of that next stuff that comes along that creates the feelings of discomfort. So it's not the initial thought of, oh, frogs are slimy, that creates any issue. What creates the issue is and I don't like them, and I'm scared of them, and what if it comes near me? I need to get away. That's what's creating the suffering. So with a phobia, any phobia that we have, it's not the thing. Yeah, it's not the thing that we believe we have a phobia of that is causing us the discomfort or the distress. It's all the thoughts about it that we have, which is often picked up habitually. So, you know, some really common phobias, isn't there, about people being scared of doctors or scared of needles or something. So at a time where they've maybe gone and had a needle or an injection and they've felt unwell or felt dizzy, and then they're like, oh, I can't deal with that, it's uncomfortable, and how do I make sure I avoid that feeling again, because it really wasn't nice. And then so every time they even go remotely near a doctor's, they go into fight or flight because they have to protect themselves from that awful feeling that they had. And it's nothing to do with the needle or the doctors, it's just about their thoughts about maybe what's happened previously or what they believe might happen in the future. So yeah, so let me know, has anyone got any questions that they want me to answer whilst I am here? Let me know. Just spent the last half an hour on the phone to Amazon about this flipping book being printed, which just is stressing me out because their sizing is slightly different. So an A5 for us is slightly different for them. So I can't, honestly, like, I hope people enjoy this book when they get it, but I can honestly tell you, it's just been the worst thing I've ever done. And the amount of times I said, why have I done this? But it's done now, so that's good. But never again, if I hear me saying I'm going to write a book again, remind me I said never again. So I hope people enjoy it. It's been a hard slog, let me tell you. But at least it's done. Well, I say it's done. I haven't got the book in my possession still, but hopefully it won't be too long before it is. So yeah, come on, someone must have a question. Somebody must have a question. If you haven't got a question, give the video a share, and there might be somebody that pop up that will have a question for us. Trying to think of any other questions I've been asked. I don't want to give questions out in my private coaching group because they're private. I'm just thinking if there's anything in general I've been asked. Can't think. Okay, Vicky, I'm in a mess, Sari, really struggling with emotions and not coping very well with anything. Okay, and then there's another one there. Tips on overthinking, you need spare free time. Okay, so I'm sorry to hear that, Vicky, that you're feeling shitty, I suppose. Emotions just come through us. They pass through us. They're like an energy that comes and goes. And so there isn't really ever any struggle with them other than our beliefs about whether we think they should be there or they shouldn't be there, or when they're going to end, or why am I feeling like. So again, it comes down to our questioning, and they almost become a problem when we believe it should be some other way, if that makes sense. So, you know, the amount of times I've had people that have been sat in front of me or that would start to get upset and will say, oh, I'm sorry, and apologise for crying, or apologise, or try and stop themselves. Oh, hang on a minute, I just need to sort myself out, as if it's not okay for me to cry, it's not okay for me to be upset. Actually, it really, really is. So, first of all, it's about accepting that whatever emotions you're feeling right now are what need to be felt, because they're there, you know, and they will pass, they will settle, they will reduce. But just think about your wording and what you're saying about yourself. You're saying that you're struggling. But actually, you know, if we change that, okay, you're feeling lots at the moment, yeah? You're managing because you're here and you've messaged on here, so you're still alive, and you are managing, and you say you're not coping very well with anything. Again, that's only ever our perception. Like I say to people, if you're feeling really shit and really overwhelmed, the fact that you maybe get up and have a cup of tea and go to the toilet and brush your teeth that day, and you might even stay in your pyjamas all day, maybe that's enough that day, yeah? And it's about going with the flow of where we're at in that moment, not putting too much pressure on ourselves about how we should be and how it should be, because ultimately it is what it is. And the more we accept what it is in that moment, the quicker it will go. Like, feelings are like batteries, if you've got a toy, your child's got a toy with new batteries in and it works really well, and then over time it will just start to slow down to the point where it will stop. And that's like feelings. They are intense and they can be there, and you know they're created by your thinking, and so they feel big and intense, but they never stay at that level. They'll always start to come down. But what happens is when we feel like we're in a sort of an emotionally difficult state for a period of time, it's often because we're beating ourselves up about it. So say, for example, you feel really sad and you've cried all day. That will pass, and the next day it will start to feel a bit clearer, a bit lighter, or the next hour, not even necessarily the next day. But if you're then going, whoa, God, I've cried all day, I've got nothing done, and God, what's wrong with me, and why am I like this? Then the chances are it's going to stay around for longer. So you're not in a mess, you're overwhelmed, you're not struggling, you're just feeling. And actually, I don't believe you're not coping. The fact that you're even opened your eyes and you're on the phone, like you could be hibernating more, you could be completely switched off, like you are coping. Okay, and again, we put such big expectations on what is coping and what isn't, but again, that's only really your perception of it, because my guess is, and I don't even know what you've done today or how you've managed today, but my guess is that you have coped. All right, it's not been as easy as you might like, it's not been as perfectly, you might want it to go away, but it is what it is. And actually, you're probably coping way better than you're giving yourself credit for. Okay, so Claire, one of the things... oh, hang on a minute, Vicky, I think you've messaged... Okay, Vicky, so you're saying your issue is you can't cry in front of anyone, so you keep it all to yourself and you tend not to tell anyone anything anymore. So the message you're sending to yourself there is that crying is bad. You can't do it in front of other people because you might affect them, or you might... it might have a bad, impact on somebody else. And so you're holding it all in, and it's like something that's just building up and building up. So again, it's about, okay, you don't need to go shouting from the rooftops and telling everyone that you feel crap. You don't need to do that. But actually, if you feel compelled, or your gut instinct is telling you that you want to talk to someone about it, then do. And don't worry about crying in front of anyone. Like, we all cry at some point, some more than others, but actually, it's your body's way of releasing tension and stress and sadness. So, allow yourself. How? Okay, so Claire, just want to say some tips on overthinking in spare free time. One of the things I want to say about that is, I will hear people often say to me, "Oh, when I'm not busy, I overthink more. I have more thinking, more thoughts." Well, we're having hundreds of thousands of thoughts every single day. No exceptions. Even when we're asleep, we're thinking consistently, constantly, going round and round. So you're not having more thoughts when things are quiet. What's happening is you're noticing them much more. You are paying much more attention to them. So rather than it being about how do I get rid of the amount of thoughts, how do I think less, or I'll make myself busy, it's about actually realising that whether you're busy or not, you still have a choice of how much attention you pay to the thoughts. Yeah? So we could be lay there doing absolutely nothing and having 1,000,001 thoughts coming through. We don't need to pay attention to them. So I suppose what I wanted to highlight there is that actually you're not having any more thoughts in your spare time or free time. You're having just as many, but you're paying more attention to them. Abby, I've been really pushing myself lately and even started back to work Monday. Thanks for your advice the other day. Oh, that's great. No problem. Well done, you. I worry about how I'll cope when my therapy stops. About halfway through therapy for depression and anxiety, but scared that when it will end, that I will fall apart again. It's normal to look forward to therapy. Listen, I understand that, and I can remember having similar sort of feelings in the early days. What is important to notice is that therapist is not making you better. Yeah, what that therapist is doing is facilitating for you to maybe think about something in a slightly different way, but it's still you that's doing the thinking, and it's still you that's doing the exploring, and it's your awareness that is growing. So that isn't going to just disappear when you're no longer in the relationship with that therapist. It'll be the thought of it ending, because you might not be where you want to be yet, that is much worse than the actual ending. So, I can remember thinking, oh, what would I do I mean, it sounds really ridiculous, but what would I do if anything happened to my therapist? Because I've got a really good relationship with her, and this was someone that I was with for a long time. What would I do? And thinking, oh, imagine if she dropped dead. What, oh my God, like I wouldn't cope. And it's just not true. It's just not true at all. It's just your perception of it, and it's just another sort of little thing for you to worry about. When actually, it's not ended yet. You say you're about halfway through. It is often normal for people to look forward to it because you're building up a nice relationship with someone who is hopefully respecting you and vice versa. So what's not to love about a nice positive relationship with someone who's going to listen to you unconditionally? Like, yeah, it's great, isn't it? And actually, how you might be in another, however, I don't know how long you've been doing it for, how you might be the other side of that is still going to be different to now. So don't be imagining how you might be when it ends, because you have no idea how you're going to be when it ends. You might actually be more than ready. Yeah, so I can remember feeling like that, and then I can remember getting to a point where I was like, I'm done. I'm done. I don't want to talk about this anymore. I don't want to keep going. And I was happy to leave. So you don't know how you're going to feel by that time. So don't even try and imagine. Just go with what is right now, which is you are finding it helpful, useful, and you look forward to it. That's brilliant. Stay with that. Don't think any further ahead of the next session. No questions other than struggling at the start of my week of work 100 miles away for the week, new career, hyperventilation and dry heaving when leaving my home, 30s. At the moment, it's just trying to take breath. Okay, Jez, well done for going with it. God, it's quite far away, isn't it? But, it's new, it's early days, and you're probably going to have a whole load of thinking about it. Now, when we're dry heaving like that, hyperventilating, you just put in shitloads of adrenaline into your system and you're feeling sick. Like, it's perfectly normal, natural if you've got a whole load of thinking going on. Over time, when you get more settled, it will just reduce. So just do as you're doing, keep on keeping on, and that's just adrenaline flying through your system because you're thinking a lot. Someone's saying there that we're told by a therapist not to cry in front of their child. Well, I don't agree with that. You don't just sat crying your eyes out 24 hours a day, every day of the week. But actually, it's not a negative thing for our children to see that we cry and we come out the other side of it and we cope. Yeah, Jez, so you sounds like your sleep pattern is kind of all over the place. But again, it's new. Give yourself a bit of a break. Give yourself time to settle. Try not to overthink the fact that, it sounds like you are doing a fair bit of overthinking because you're struggling to get to sleep because you didn't want to be late leaving for work, and, you're really trying your best to do this really well. But you know what? Allow yourself some little mistakes. Allow yourself to not get it all perfectly right. But just, it will settle. Yeah, it will settle. Nora, is recovery possible from panic attacks? Any of us could be susceptible to a panic attack at any point. So it's not like recovery like an addiction where you've got something and then you can sustain, like our body will send us into a panic. So that's like me saying, okay, Nora, yeah, you recover from panic attacks. And then actually if, I don't know. In fact, if I give an example, so I don't have panic attacks like I used to. I would be in a state of panic for weeks on end, quite frankly. And so, no, I don't experience that. So is it possible to recover from that vicious cycle? Yes, absolutely. Having said that, if I'm laying in bed tonight and I hear a window smash in my house, I'm going to probably get startled and go into a semi-panic. Yeah, it doesn't mean I'll be breathing into a brown paper bag or being sick, but I'll go into a panic. And the reason I'll go into a panic, if that happens, is to get me prepared to do the right thing, to phone the police, to get whatever it is that I would feel in that moment was the right thing to do. So I wouldn't be void of panic attacks or panic or feelings of panic. And I wouldn't want to be, because it's survival and it's really important and it keeps us it keeps us alive, actually. So do we recover? Do we recover from excessive overthinking, habitual? I have recovered from my habit of massively overthinking everything and having panic over nothing. Am I immune from panic? No, because I'm human. Hi from Peru. I like it when you pop up and say hello from Peru. Okay, you have a lot of panic attacks. The key is for the only no, that's not true. It's not the only way. The key with panic attacks, my dear, is you need to understand more about what is happening when you're having them, because that knowledge and that awareness is going to enable you to not be quite so scared of them. And when you're not so scared of them, you will see that it's a normal, natural response to what your thoughts that are in your mind, and you will let go of it much quicker. If you haven't already, order my book, The Anxiety is a Fucker. Or is it? Because I explain all about that in there too. Survival mode. Gail, suffering at the moment with depression and seizures are kicking off too. It's like a vicious cycle. Any advice? Yeah, well, you know what it is. You know it's a vicious cycle, don't you? So it's then creating a physical response in your body. So again, the key to this is there is no I say there's no quick fix, but actually we can get over this stuff quicker than we believe sometimes. It's about constantly exploring how all of this stuff works, about what's happening when we're in a panic attack and all of that stuff. Oh, good, yeah, it won't be long, Nora. I'm dead excited to get my hands on it. I don't know if you saw before, I've been on the phone for like half an hour from Amazon because there was an issue with, they don't have the same size. Their A5 is a slightly different size to our one. So they've had to have the picture and stuff on the cover adjusted, so it's slowed it down even further. But anyway, it's sorted now. So yeah, the only way is awareness, is understanding what we're doing through understanding how thought works. That is the key. Ultimately, that is the key. And for some people, they will get that mega quick, and some it will take longer. It took me longer than it took some of my clients. I've had clients who have got this stuff way quicker than I did, because there's no right or wrong way to do it. And, you know, some of us might resist things more than others, but the only way is to understand more about how you're getting there in the first place. Because you're right, it is a vicious cycle, but it is a cycle that we can come out of. So, okay, so I'll leave it there. Thanks for joining me, and I will hopefully catch up with you all soon. Those that have ordered the book already, you should get another email. They just scare me and make it worse. Yeah, because you're scared of them because you don't understand them fully. That's what it is, basically. You're scared of them because you believe that something really bad is happening, and that's not necessarily what is happening. It's just, I have zero anxiety, just depressing. It works in the same way. The more you understand about thinking, it's your thoughts that are creating your low mood for you to feel that way. Yeah, because you're almost like digging a hole with your thinking, in the same way that someone with anxiety does. It all works in exactly the same way. What would you do to balance your anxiety when your job is a youth counsellor and need to be in charge of lots of children? Just focus on you. Just focus on you. Focus on you understanding how thought works, you understanding how you get more peace of mind, and you will just rub off nicely on those children. This is another thing I mentioned in the book very briefly. If you then put pressure on yourself, I can remember thinking, oh my God, if I'm anxious, how can I help anyone else? I'm not capable, I'm not good enough, all of this. And that's utter rubbish, because that's like saying, you know, if we had to have somebody who never had any wobbles with their mental health or felt overwhelmed, then we'd have to just have robots work with people, and that just wouldn't work, would it? So focus on you. Don't attach the two. The children can't make you more anxious, and you can't make them anxious. So the two are separate. Just focus on you, and the other will come. Yeah? Just completely focus on you and what you need. And remember, everything is inside out. So the children being in charge of children cannot make you anxious. Your thoughts about that might, but the children can't. Okay? So just keep exploring. The more you see of that, the more settled you become. I'll just sort of say briefly, when I've worked in children's homes before, and I can remember before the 3 principles feeling like If I wasn't careful, I'd be tipped over the edge. If I wasn't careful, I'd get too emotionally drained. That I would, that sort of what people call it, like compassion fatigue. And actually, now with the work I do, it's not that I'm not compassionate. In fact, I'm probably more compassionate than ever, but I never come away feeling like I've been drained because I know that it's only ever my thoughts about the situation that's creating the feelings, and that no matter what is going on for those children, no matter how drastic, overwhelming, how stressful their lives are, that has no direct impact on me because I can choose to take that on or not. And I don't need to take that on in order to support and help them. In fact, I'm much better at helping and showing them when I'm calm. So just focus on you and the rest will come and follow. And that's great that you're doing that as a job. Well done. Okay, so I'll leave it there and I will catch up with you all very soon. See you next Tuesday. Okay. That stands for something really bad, doesn't it, when you say that? It's awful, but because I work in a particular place on a Tuesday, always say it when I leave, see you next Tuesday. But I don't mean it like that. Okay, bye for now.